Hello, welcome to Martha's Fragrance Corner. My name is Martha. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I have one of my favorite videos to do. It's just when I get to chat with you guys and tell you what's going on with my life. How was the previous month? What am I looking forward to in this month currently? And how did I do with my wax goals? So I've been talking about low buy and no buy for the past year. And I did make a dent at the end of last year. I did a video on my kind of goals for this year and some guidelines I was giving myself. And so, yeah, so we're going to talk about that, talk a little bit about how I've been doing, other kind of things that I've been getting into, my project Use It Up, which is more, it's not quite a project Use It Up, is it? It's a focus project. It's a focal, like this is what I want to work on as far as body care items go. And then a favorite. I will be doing what I read in a separate video because I finished 6 books this month. So that was good. So that'll be a separate video. But yeah, if you just want to hear kind of how I'm doing this month, how my numbers stacked up, I made some changes to my spreadsheet. And so I've added more things to it for me to look at. I love numbers. I love just having these insights. For me, I know it's not for everyone, but for me, it really helps me like curb that temptation when I see things like in black and white. We can justify buying or not buying or justify just about anything. But when you've got like facts staring at you on your face, like how much you used and how much you brought in and stuff, it is a little bit of an awakening. So I do like using my spreadsheet. So I will share my numbers downstairs. I'm actually going to go downstairs so I have the computer and you can see my screen there a little bit. And then I'll get into the other stuff. Of course, as usual, everything will be time-stamped in this video so you can skip around where you like. But if you're interested in hearing how I did in January and what's coming in February, then stick around. So I'm here downstairs and I wanted to be on the computer so I can just share numbers, hopefully pretty quickly. But I did want to talk about my spreadsheet just a little bit because I've made some updates to it and talk about some other things that I'm tracking because I like to track. I love to have these insights. It helps me kind of have a reality check really in what I'm spending and how much wax is coming in and all of that because I'm trying to be good. I'm trying to decrease the number that I have. It's I didn't get here overnight having this much wax. And I know it's kind of like losing weight, right? You didn't gain 30 pounds overnight. I'm not going to lose them overnight. Same thing with wax. I'm not going to, and I want to enjoy it. I don't want to just be wasteful and just like melt just to bring my number down. I want to enjoy it. And, but I also want to make sure that at the end of this year, I have less wax than I started with. So let's start here with my spreadsheet, which if you have downloaded my spreadsheet from a previous video that I made, it looks a little different now. I have made some changes to it, but for the most part, it's kind of the same. I added weight, which is ounces. And the reason I added ounces is because this is going to give me the most real number as possible. And you'll see why when I talk about my January numbers. It actually does make a difference. It wasn't as hard to do as I thought it was going to be. When I know Stacy from Stacy's, is it Saka's here on YouTube, and Shijo, they also track by ounces. And the thought of that when I first heard that, I was like, oh, that's like way too much. But it actually didn't take me as long as I thought it would, because for the most part, a souffle, they all weigh the same, right? Especially from that vendor. And so if I had, the same kind of bar, if I weighed one, I already knew what some of these were. I knew that they were bars. I knew they were brittles. So it was just a matter of going in and adding them. So that's new. I added a cost column, so keeping track of how much I purchase. So this is as of February 1st, and I did make a purchase this morning, a pre-order. So that's the total. And then I kind of added some extra around the wax itself, like overall rating which is mostly going to be weighted heavily by scent. If I love the scent, my overall rating will probably be good. So, but I wanted to kind of be able to go back and look at, why did I like this scent? Was it because it was really strong and I liked it, or was it, and so I added the scent, how strong of a throw, right? Like how much does that scent fill a room? And then longevity. Is this something that died in 3 hours, or is this something that lasted a long time? This is all subjective, of course, but and then if I would repurchase. So some things I would absolutely repurchase. Other things I may like, but I probably wouldn't repurchase unless, and that's where those other columns help me. Like if I like the scent, but I didn't check it as repurchase, it could just be like it wasn't anything super special, but maybe if I saw it in a pre-order and there was like 2 things I wanted, but I see this third thing in there, I might throw it in there, right? So it kind of helps me for that reason. And then I have my comments, which I don't always fill out, my scent notes. And then I'm also tracking if it was friend mail. I just made it a simple checkbox. So, and that helps me too, because I wanted a way, one, to remember what was friend mail, but also to know what is it that I controlled, that I purchased versus, just generosity of others. And so that's that. So I did have my starting ounces. This is just, when I went in here and filled in the ounces, that's what I did. And so I have some blanks in a few, and I don't remember, and I just have some blanks. So I haven't filled in all the ounces. But as I go into it, I will, but I have probably about 80% of everything weighed. So my starting goal, or my starting total, was 833 units, and that could be samples, loaves, souffles, clamshells. And that's why the ounces are important, because not one does not really equal one. And then this is the same, right? How much I brought in. I added an ounce column here, like how much did I bring in as far as ounces go, and then my outs. So if you can see here, 56 and 56. This month was a wash. January was a complete wash, but not completely, because my ounces actually dropped. I only brought in 164 ounces, but I used 191. So I actually did use more wax than what came in. But it was a wash for the most part. And that's okay. And that's totally okay. So I ended at 833 as far as units go. And I started the month at 833. And, I have already made a purchase here in February, and it's 40 ounces. And I went in on the Teddy Bees pre-order, kept it super small, just 7 items, but super small. And then breaking down what I brought in January, because 56 does seem like a lot. I also have this other sheet here that I made, and I can see actually what I purchased. So I purchased 33 units, and it was Bring Back My Bar from Scentsy. So that was the first haul. I did a small haul. I think I bought 5 to 7 things. I don't quite remember. I can look from the Candle Nurse. And then I placed an order that I'm still waiting for, but I did place it January 31st. So I did, put it in my January numbers, and I think it's 9 clamshells from Scentsy. So that's kind of what made up the 33. It also shows you that buying just a little bit adds up. But that was 33. I had used 56. So, for what I can control, it was actually a good month for me. I brought in less than I was using. I did get friend mail, and I did get a lot of extras from Emily from the Candle Nurse. So I included that in friend mail because it wasn't a purchase necessarily. And so anyway, it ended up being a wash. So I like that I have this dashboard now in my spreadsheet that shows me like total ins, outs, just really quickly. I can see ounces. I also have it by vendor, like how much ounces. And again, this number will change because it's not 100% done, but most of it's there. How much wax I have by vendor, like what's the percentage of my total. So you'll see here, teddy bees. I have more teddy bees than Scentsy. I have more teddy bees than anything. So the only reason I went in on this pre-order was because there was 2 scents that I have been wanting for a year, and they were offered. And so I got 2 souffles of each of those. And then there's like 3 more. So I really got 5 scents, 3 more that looked good, and that I wanted to try. Kept it super small, smallest teddy bee order ever, and I allowed myself that just because of those scents that I've been waiting for a year. She offered them, and that was going to be my exception. If 1 or 2 of those scents were offered, I was going to go in. So you can see here, although I have more Scentsy in quantity, 202, when I look at ounces, I have much more teddy bees than anything, 775 ounces of teddy bees. And I have done, teddy bees is full, like teddy bees, I've got all the weights in there. And so, yeah, so the ounces is helping for sure. And then I can also see where I have just a couple of, wax from a couple vendors and who I have the most of. I have a lot of Knowles, so he does have a pre-order coming up. In fact, depending on when this video happens, it could be it could be today. But my guideline was, unless I'm running really low on something, I shouldn't buy it. Or unless there's that one thing that I really, really want, I could repurchase, but also keep it small. There are some things that I really want from the Knowles Farm Scents thing, but I have so much. So I can't really justify it. It's not like a have to have kind of thing. So yeah, I can't, right? But if I look at Rose Girls, I've been working on Rose Girls for a year. I'm down to 40 bags. It's still a lot. Sassy Girl, she's opening up. I'm not going to buy for a while because I still have a lot. So this is helping me with my goals that I said I won't buy unless I'm down to very few, which I was with the Candle Nurse. But I got a lot in from samples from what I bought. So I'm good with the Candle Nurse for a little while. And then Lavender and Speckles, I still have quite a bit, 30. But check this out, Second and Spruce, I'm down to 17. Like, my drawer is actually very light in there. And that does include some samples and things. So I could repurchase Second and Spruce because I can melt 17 pretty quickly. So that's just a little bit about my spreadsheet. And then I have it broken down, like I said, like what I purchased that month, what I used in February. I've purchased 7. I've already used 1. And yeah, so that's, and then this is net used, right? So that was a wash at 0. So this is a nice little spreadsheet here that I pulled together. And then I am tracking dollars. So January, I spent $90.78. In February, which is the Teddy Bees pre-order, $61.60. So I'm going to keep track of how much I'm spending because I think this is something I've never done and can be very eye-opening. Very eye-opening. And then I have another one here on this is like, what was my starting total? And then what I've used. What I like about this is, for example, with Scentsy, I had actually originally, without this very last order, which I haven't received yet, had 13. I had like 13 units had come in and I had used 17. So I was actually good. I was like, okay, I only bought 13 Scentsy and I used 17. So my number's going down. That last little purchase on the 31st, I was closing a party. And actually most of it is not bars, but I did want to get the Valentine's Day collection. So this number went up a little bit, but I think what's nice about this is it could help me see, like, especially if I do a pre-order, am I using more than I'm bringing in? I don't know what's going on with this. I'll figure that out later, but at least my January and February seem to be working. And yeah, I can keep track of how much I brought in. This Knowles, I think it's because I found some samples. That's why there's 2, even though I didn't do a haul in Knowles. And so really I just did Scentsy and the Candle Nurse in January, and I can easily see that. And then I can see what I used up. So yeah, so that's my little spreadsheet here. But yeah, it was a wash. So January was a wash, although technically I did use more wax than I brought in. February, I haven't looked to see what pre-orders there are. I don't plan on buying anything. The only one, but I think it's in March, would be Second and Spruce, because I am down, like there's that drawer. In fact, I could probably show you that drawer. It's almost empty, even though it says 17, but like I said, some of it samples. So I'm down to very little Second and Spruce. So I feel like that would be the one vendor out of the vendors I said I would buy from this year, or would allow myself to buy from this year, that I could purchase. But February, I think, will be a good month for me, where I will continue to bring my wax numbers down. But I'm under 1,000. That's, that's great. It's where it was last year. So I'm just really happy, and I'm tracking more things, and I'm not missing it. I'm really not missing it. I'm actually enjoying my wax more, that I have a little bit less than last year. I'm not super tempted to buy. And like I said, or it's easier for me to say no to pre-orders, where I think last year at this time, it was a little harder. Like I was so used to just buying what I wanted that, kind of turn that off a little bit was a little harder. Now that I've been in this low buy, and in some cases, some months where I'm not buying anything, I'm finding it's a lot easier to say no. So that's my numbers for now. I'm going to go back upstairs and share, I guess, the rest of the stuff I wanted to talk about in this video. And we're back upstairs. So this is the chatty portion, the true check-in on how things have been going with me this month. It's been a mixed bag, I think, and this is personally, there's a lot, not talking about, all the stuff that happened in January. There's been a lot of tragedy actually in January. But personally, like on a personal note, it's been busy, which made it seem kind of fast. Super productive month for me, which is good. Takes away from other things though. So, it's a mixed bag. And I started off walking like every day. I think I talked about that in my my video on January, like not wanting to break the chain. I broke the chain. I don't remember what it was. It's probably because of work related. We start off January with all these plans and all these things that we want to do, and then it doesn't quite work out that way. But I have found that even though I'm busier at work and more demands on me. I'll put it that way. Demands on my time. I've still found a way to do some of the things that I set out to do. The walking, though, kind of fell by the wayside. Doesn't help when it's raining. I don't want to walk outside and get wet in the rain, but it's okay. Like, I'm still proud of what I've done. And I'll start walking again. It's not like an all or nothing, like I failed, so I quit, kind of those things. So I'll just start walking again. I'm going to be in Vegas this week as you're watching this. And there's a lot of walking going on in Vegas just to get to the conference rooms, right? There's you feel like you're walking a mile. So I will be doing a lot of walking this week. So I'm hoping that'll give me a little jump start back into walking. And, yeah, I've been, for the most part, eating more at home, which is good. I do have, work dinners and stuff like that this week. As you're watching this, will be a week of eating out, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So this is when I gain weight again. And it's like any progress I made, it just goes back. So it is what it is. Yeah. There's things, I can order a healthy salad or something, but we've talked about that. I'm not into salad. So how have you been doing with do we call them resolutions? I don't call what I do resolutions. They're things I want to do. But I don't have resolutions, specific ones, right? I just want to move more, feel healthier, and I do have plans to do, plan of a plan. Like I am planning my meals. I am doing things to help me there. There are sometimes things out of my control somewhat that, prevent me from doing exactly what I want to do. So I don't know. I don't call them resolutions because I feel like most people don't keep them. I don't know. Why do we keep doing resolutions when most people do not start the year with a resolution and said, hey, I stuck it out. I don't know, but I have goals, I will call them, that I would like to do. And I have a how I'm going to do them strategy. But yeah, I don't know. I don't call them resolutions. But one of the things that has made me happy that I am getting an itch for is I have a creativity side to me. Although I love like numbers and spreadsheets and analytics, I also have this creative side of me that I really enjoy and like to kind of live in for a while. And YouTube for me does fill that. There is a creative component to this, more like the editing and doing things like that is creative. But there's also other things like this year, although I have a book spreadsheet. Yes, I have a spreadsheet for that. I wanted to do like a book journal. So just playing with like paper and washi tape and markers and things like that. I'm kind of leaning back into that. And I have all the stuff. So it's like I have a room full of paper and washi tape. I call it waxy tape. I don't know what I called it. Washi tape and, all kinds of stuff. So I wanted to do a book journal this year. And I did share this, I think, I did share this, I think, in January, but I'm starting to fill it out. And so I will have so I'm not going to share too much, but I've been sharing it. I didn't want to make it super artistic because just doing this took a long time, and I want it to be something that I can do. But I do like that I added all the books I own. I've already purchased some books this year, so I am using this and filling it out. And then so far, you'll have a sneak preview to my book video. So some books that I read, I write the synopsis and what I thought about it. So this will help me for the book reviews, and I just, print out the book cover and stuff. So this is like me having where I can have just a little time, because I know I won't have a lot of time to like hours to do things, but I have a little time at the end of each week to, print out the little book cover and do stuff like that. And then continuing on in that vein, and I've talked about this too, my Hobonichi, this is personal for the most part. I mean, it's not my work planner, but I like being able to track, and I can track by my little stickers. I worked from home, or I ate McDonald's that day. I don't know if you can see that far, but things that I was doing when I walked, I've been tracking like what I've been eating down here. So this is more of a personal, what I'm calling this like a memory planner, because it's not for me planning ahead necessarily. There are some things that I plan ahead, but it's more of a retrospective. Like, what did I do this day? On the Sunday morning, I did a lot of dishes, had a lot of dishes to do. So I do enjoy the stickers of it and stuff like that. I have stickers here this is from Hubman and Chub Girl. This was like their December kit, I think. And then every day I've been journaling every day. And so there's the photos that I've been printing out of, so this is the memory keeping aspect. My daughter got her license to cut hair, so she's doing my hair there. And so I get to still have some creativity, some fun in here, and just write and journal. And, here's a book that I finished, and I'm doing my photo a day, which I've been doing that now since the beginning of January. I don't post them all, but I'll post some. And so some of my daily photos will go in there, and I'll talk about kind of what I was doing. Some days I don't have photos, but I'm just sticking washi and, what I'm reading, what I'm doing. I was sick that day. I mentioned in my candle nurse haul, Emily had put this in the box, and I stuck it in there. I'm building a shelf over here. So it's been great to journal like this on like, what I'm doing. And so, yeah, it's fun to play with stickers and washi tape. So this is going to be like a memory book, so to speak, of my year. And I've been so far, I find time every day to journal in there. So that's been fun. And I love stickers. So I have stickers. This is Hubman and Chub Girl. I do have Coffee Monsters that I get a lot of stickers from. I didn't show my other spreadsheet here. Let's see. This, not my spreadsheet, my month. This is from Simply Gilded. So this is the sub box there, and I decorated the month. And then I did February, so I need to fill out February. But this has been giving me a little, scratching that itch, I guess is what I'm saying, of wanting to be more creative again and kind of get back into that. I'm watching a lot more card making videos again, scrapbooking making videos. I'm not watching as many wax videos because I'm watching this other stuff, and that's just because I'm kind of back into it. And bringing this back around to wax, my guest room was my scrap room, was my creativity room. I had a desk on there. I have inks and all kinds of stuff in there, but there was so much wax on the floor. There was boxes of wax that I couldn't really use that space for what I wanted to. So I've been using the dining room table, and that's not how I want to continue. So now that I've made progress in bringing my wax numbers down, I'm seeing more space, and every day there's a little more space. Every month there's a little more space. I ended up breaking down like 5 boxes that I had in that room, and now I can see the bin that I have of like some scrapbook stuff and some stuff that I couldn't find the other day, and I'm like, I know I have this. So that's also making me happy. Because I'm getting there, and I will, and I want to. That's like another goal. I want to get to the point where I feel like that room is organized to allow me to play and create. I did get some notebooks because I subscribe to the Archer and Olive quarterly box. So I have 2 notebooks that are still blank, and one is going to be my book of joy. My word of the year is joy, and I want to have that be kind of a book of joy. So it could be just playing in there, using paints. I bought something called gouache, which I was like, what is gouache? But I bought some colorful paints and papers and just kind of like in a way, like an art journal, but not quite. But also a place where I can put in quotes that I love, quotes that speak to me. I can sit and write about what did I do? What kinds of things that I do or things that happened to me that brought me joy, and spending some time reflecting on that, because that is my word of the year. And every day I'm thinking about, okay, what brought me joy today? Sometimes I'll write it in my Hobonichi journal, and that's what I'm writing about. Other days I'm just writing about like what happened that day. But I do want a book of joy. And when I look back on it, it'll be like kind of a gratitude thing in a way, but slightly different, where it's what brought me joy today, or what did I do seeking joy that day. And I'm just so much happier. I don't know if it shows, but I am just so happy with where I am right now. And, I'm proud of myself for working my wax down and for getting that room much more organized and kind of getting to a place where I can see that I'm getting, I don't want to say my life back, but that feeling of like things are in order. And last year there was just so much wax and so much stuff that things didn't feel like they were in order. So I hope that, I hope you're having kind of those similar feelings in your life, or, thinking about what you can do, to I don't know, sit and reflect. I find that to be very, very important, and think about all the good stuff, because there's plenty of bad stuff around. And speaking of my word, I had mentioned, I think in the January video, that I had purchased, it's in tissue paper. It was in a mailer. I haven't even opened it yet. I order from a company called Soul Mantras. It's a one-woman show. I love supporting small businesses. and put them in these little like stones. And so look at that. They're individually packed. So one is joy, and one was my backup word, which was simplify. So I think joy, I believe, is the heart. Yeah. And so I'm kind of keeping these. Can you see that? Joy. So that is joy. It's in a heart. I wanted this one to be a heart instead of like the little stone, like a hand stone that I normally get. So, all my word of the years, I'm kind of collecting, and I have that in a little bowl to remind myself. Last year was focus, and then simplify. Hopefully I spelled it correctly. Yeah, simplify. And that's part of organizing, getting organized, having a little bit less. Balance is part of that too, right? And just not making anything too hard, including like my book journal. I could have gone super elaborate, my reading journal. I could have gone super elaborate and done all kinds of things and done, but it was like, no, I wanted to keep it simple. Simple enough where I know I can get in there, use it, not try to track a million things. I already have a tracker for that. And so simplify is just to remind me, if I keep it simple, I'm more apt, is that the word? I'm more likely to do it, right? Because it's not overcomplicated. I'm not putting up all these things that can become barriers. So that is my word of the year is here. Got that. So let's move on to my focus project Use It Up. I had said that I wanted to use Bad Santa from Scandalous Cosmetics, and I got to use it, and I did mark where I was at the beginning of the month and where I am now. So can you see? Let's see, there should be like a dark line there. That's where I was when I started the month. This is where I am. I will put a Sharpie marker right there. So I've used quite a bit in this month of this one. This is Lost Cherry, Bourbon, and Tobacco. It's a fantastic scent. This is the lotion. So this was the mist. This is the lotion. So this one I think is maybe easier to see. The line was right here where I started, and now I'm down to here. So been using quite a bit of that. This is a very strong scent. Like this lasts me all day. When I do the combo of the three, with the oil, the lotion, and the body mist, I can smell myself. I can smell, myself all day long, and it smells good. And then the oil, this one I got in my last haul in December. I kind of did a similar oil of Lost Cherry, vanilla tobacco, or vanilla bourbon and tobacco. So this one was fresh. It was brand new. So I'm here on this one. So I use all three. Start with the oil, use some lotion, and then finish off with the body mist, and it smells fantastic. So I will continue using this in February, but it is a heavier scent. So probably not as much as I did this past month. And then I've continued to use as well. This one is Flannels, Boots, and Bonfires. I think I was using this in November. But I continue to use this as well. So let's see. The beginning of this month, I was here. There's a little black line here, and now I'm down to about there. So I've been making progress on this one as well. Same thing here. This one is the body mist. So I was around here. You can see that black line, and I'm down to here. And then, the body milk. I was here at the beginning of the month, and now I'm down here. So I'll mark this. So I've been making some progress on this one. I haven't reached for this as much because I've been focusing on Bad Santa, but making some progress. Now, where I thought I was going to finish this bottle this month, I didn't because I kind of forgot about it. Warm and Cozy. I still have a little bit. It's like down to here. I love this scent. So, I mean, I'll use it when I'm in the mood. This is such a great scent. So we'll see when I finish that. Hopefully the end of February. It's still appropriate. And then I kind of discovered but I hadn't been reaching for this, but when December, kind of near the end of December, I'm like, oh, Sleigh Rides and Snuggles. I should probably be using this. You can't tell really where this is because there's no way to see like exactly where that liquid is. But I started using some of it this month. I'll weigh it and keep track of it because otherwise there's really no way to tell. But I've been enjoying this one. I don't think this is probably about 2 years old. So I've been using this. It's still fairly full, but I've kind of been using this month too. So I'll continue to use that in February. I like seeing the progress that I'm doing by focusing on just a number of body care things versus everything. But I also sometimes get tired of just a couple of things. So I will use other stuff. I have a vanilla scent from Flora that I've been using and things like that. But I will continue to work on these and show you my update at the beginning of March on that one. So that's my body care project, Use It Up. Okay. And then I want to talk about another thing, I guess 2 things I'm loving. Let me see. Was there something else? Let me double check if there's something else I wanted to talk about. All right. So no, I think I've covered all the bases and probably been talking way too much. I do have a funny thing to me. Let me know if you got into this years and years ago. So a couple weeks ago, I had my girlfriends over, and then later on in the evening, it was, I don't know, it was like 7 o'clock or something. And I saw that on Tubi, there was, they're showing the movie Twilight. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I think I owned those movies at one point. And I'm like, oh, the acting in that movie is hilarious, right? And we'd been having some drinks and cocktails and we're just sitting there and so I turn it on, we start watching, and there's points where we're laughing because there's a lot of very emo. That movie is kind of emo and a lot of just weird stares and stuff going on. But I loved the book Twilight. Or the books, I should say. The books Twilight. I owned them at one point. Last year, my daughter asked me like, Mom, where are your Twilight books? And I go, I must have given them away. I don't know. I didn't have them anymore. And then, but after watching the movie, I like kind of refell in love. I mean, it's not the best acting. It's not the best movie, but I loved that story. I don't know why, but I got sucked into the whole Twilight saga back when it came out. I remember being on a plane when I read Twilight, and I finished Twilight like on the plane. And I am someone who doesn't read. I fall asleep. I fall asleep when I'm flying. I fall asleep before takeoff. I'm one of those people that I could just fall asleep before takeoff and on a plane. So I rarely read because I fall asleep after like a few pages. I don't know if it's the white noise of the plane or the hum or whatever. It just lulls me to sleep. But when back, I don't know how many years ago, when Twilight first came out, I finished that book on the plane, and I'm like, before I even go home, I'm going to drive to the bookstore and get the next book because the next book was already out, New Moon. And so I ended up binge watching those movies. I watched Twilight like Sunday night, New Moon Monday night. What's the next one? Eclipse. And then Breaking Dawn, I believe, is is in 2 installments. And there was something about it. I don't know if it was the nostalgia of it or it's just, I love that story. And so I went on Pango Books and rebought all of them. So I got them all, and I am going to reread these books because I'm in that mood right now. I don't know what happened, but I'm in the mood, and these are chunkers. I forgot how thick they were. But yes, I'm going to reread the Twilight series, and they were nicely, beautifully packed in here. In fact, I haven't even unwrapped the other 2 books, but the bookseller, the person who was selling them to me, put little stickers in here. So these will go in my little memory book. But aren't these nicely wrapped? So just really happy. So these are the last 2, Eclipse and Breaking Dawn. Wow, that is a doorstop. So I will find some time to reread these because I'm back into it. Let me know if you were a fan of Twilight were you Team Edward or Team, is it Jacob? Jake? No, his real name's Taylor Lauder. So Jacob or Edward. I was Team Edward. But Anyway, I had to share that because I got those books this week. All right, so let's finishing off this video on a favorite of mine. So this is just kind of one of those things where I kind of look around and go, what are some things that I think are kind of cool and I'd want to talk about? Not sexy or anything. It's this thing. It's I should have brought the box. It's a it's like a pull, little spout here. This is what you put on these like bottles that have a pump. So this is like a empty of CeraVe cleansing foam, but it's got a pump, and then you can't get to the stuff on the bottom. It's like, you can't get to it. So you attach one of these things on there, and they also have an adapter. So this is the medium size. And so it could be larger if you need it to be, or you can stick in this adapter, and you put it on the bottle. It fits perfectly. I use this for my shampoo bottles as well that I got from Costco, because those were also a pump, and I was like, get to the point where I'm like, I know there's a lot of conditioner in there, and using that right now. And so it actually, stands upside down. And so you get all the liquid out, and then it's got this little spout, and then it becomes like a squeeze bottle. So these little things are fantastic. The only thing I don't like about it is they come in 3 different sizes, which sounds great, but they don't sell like a particular size separately. So I did buy another, pack of 6, which is like 2 small, 2 medium, 2 large. This is the medium size. And most of the bottles that I have are medium size, so I don't really need the small or the extra large. I don't know what kind of bottles those would fit. But so I just wish that you can buy like more medium if you wanted to without having to buy another pack. But this has been super, like, you getting your money's worth, get it all out. So this is a little thing from Amazon that I got. I actually got my first pack as part of a stocking stuffer at Christmas, and then I went and bought another one because I needed more medium, since the 2 shampoo bottles were using a medium size, and then that foaming cleanser was using a medium size. So people use it for, I don't know, just think of all kinds of things that are like a pump. And if you kind of turned them upside down, you'd get more of the product out. So I thought that was kind of a cool thing to share. So that is my favorite for the month. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. This was probably a little longer video than normal, but it's kind of my chance to share what's going on with me and connect with you all. Please share your favorites. How's your month been going? What are you looking forward to in February? I'm looking forward to kind of taking it a little bit easier. I'm looking forward to starting my joy journal, my joy journal, or making cards. I'm definitely going to be doing that in February. And I have my What I've Been Warming videos that'll be coming up. I have my books I've read in January coming up. And let's see, I'll have a Scentsy haul coming. And so, yeah, some more videos. If you want to see more of my videos, then please subscribe and hit the bell. But I'd love to hear how you're doing. How are you doing? Are you tracking anything? Are you trying to eat better? Are you walking more? What are some of your goals this year? I'd love to know. So let's chat about it below. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.